Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a dive into r/BestofRedditorUpdates. I don't usually like doing the exact same subreddit 2 days in a row. I do it often if I've run out of time and it's all I've got saved, and today I have run out of time and it's all I've got saved. If a bit of Redditor updates is right up your alley today, then please do stick around and enjoy! And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, thank you! And of course, quick disclaimer, any opinions I give on the posts we read are just opinions, not facts, do not need to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, that is perfectly fine, please do feel free to leave it in the comments below. Just make sure you keep it respectful, there is no need to be mean because you do not agree. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? So this one was posted by Direct Caterpillar 77 and the title is Me, 23F, with my boyfriend, 24M, of 2 years. Says I ruined his best friend's party. So Direct Caterpillar is not the original poster. The original poster is you/Pretty Moonlight. Direct Caterpillar is the person who compiled it together for us like a lovely wee bean. We have some trigger warnings for destruction of property, verbal abuse, and entitlement. Originally posted June 29th, 2014. I have been dating David, 24M, for 2 years. He lives about 20 minutes away. He told me he resents the fact my parents paid for my schooling, which is partially true. They cut me a check after I graduated. Listen, is it okay to be jealous that someone gets something that you don't or seems to have an easier ride? Yeah, it's very normal and human to get jealous. Is it okay to take that out on the person that you're jealous of? No, unless they're like rubbing it in your face and being a proper poncy prick about it, then no, it's not. I worked long hours and got scholarships/loans to help pay for it. I didn't even know they had a college fund for me. He also said he hates how spoiled I can be. I moved into my grandmother's house 3 years ago. My mum hates the house, and since it's not the prettiest home, she let me live there. She then signed the house over to me when she moved across country for work. I have a full-time job with good benefits and have worked my ass off to pay my bills, save money, and fix up the house. Most of my spare time is done making this house as nice as possible. I even installed a wood floor myself. Yeah, so it's obvious that OP has obviously been quite fortunate, had more of a leg up in life than, a lot of us. However, it doesn't sound like they're the type that's just kind of squandering the opportunities they're getting and living off somebody else's dime. They're putting in a lot of hard work themselves. They just are very lucky and have had an easier start than some of us get. And again, it's okay to be jealous of that. I am jealous of it too. I've got to be honest. When I read these things and people are like, yeah, we have like this massive house or whatever. And I'm like, I wish I had that. But at the same time, I don't. So it's tough titties.
And let me just be clear before anyone says, well, how would you know, you coming from a privileged perspective? The parent I lived with, we were getting food bank bags dropped, like tins of food dropped at the door. They were constantly in debt. It was a struggle, living off like hand-me-downs and stuff and clothes that didn't fit right and what have you. So yeah. My upbringing certainly was not a privileged one, unfortunately. It would have been great if it was. I always used to sit there and think, imagine if I actually have a rich uncle somewhere or, a rich grandparent that I didn't know about and, they leave me a load of money. How good would that be? One could dream, eh?
David says I don't know how to work hard, but I have a 40 to 50 hour weeks and have a high energy job. I've told him the comments were not appreciated and he stopped, but he has made snarky comments a few times. Does David like you, my love? Because it kind of seems like he just wants an opportunity to tear the OP down at any moment. I do love David, but sometimes he can get carried away trying to be the life of the party. David asked if he could have some friends over to my house. It was supposed to be a surprise gathering for his friend Mike. It was a cake, some pizza, a few beers, and presents, so pretty casual. I knew all the people he was inviting, and he told me he would clean up. Then he asked if I would go out for the night so he could have the house to himself. I told him I was not comfortable with that and I didn't want to leave my own home. I asked why I couldn't be there. He didn't have a real answer and said he just wanted to feel like he had his own place. Get your own place then, David. This is OP's place. It was a pretty sketchy reply, and I told him I wanted to socialise with Mike as well. I like beer. I like pizza. I love cake. David acted like he had the right to think about it. I told him that I was either going to be included. Or he could find somewhere else to party. And if you're wondering why I'm talking a lot quieter all of a sudden, it is 1:15 in the morning, and I've just heard one of the kiddos stirring. So, yeah, just want to make sure that I'm not waking anyone up. He told me I was being controlling. He said I should trust him. I said, my house, my rules. Which might have been pretty bitchy to say, but I didn't see why I had to vacate my own home on a Friday and go somewhere where there would be people I liked and who liked me at my house. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be happy with being told to get out of my own house. Especially when he likes to throw the fact that you have that house in your face, but he's quite happy to want to try and use it. Like, he slags you off for being given that house. And again, I'm gonna say, I would be jealous too. Like, my God, did I have a rough start when I started out and having to live alone? Like, basically, the parent I was living with, like, there was physical fights going on all the time and all sorts at home. So I was like, sod this, I'm leaving. And did like sofa surfing for a long time. Would I have loved to have had the opportunity to have a family member that just kind of was like, yeah, here you go, here's a house? Yeah. Would I begrudge anyone else that? No, of course not. But like the audacity to throw in someone's face basically that they're spoiled and all this lot and they don't work hard or anything when they literally work 40 to 50 hours a week and also go to school. I think they said they were going to school still. They might not be still, but oh no, they're fixing up the house. Maybe they finished with school or college or whatever. Oh yeah, they've graduated. So they're still fixing up a house, going to work, you know, they're still putting in their 2 pence worth to make sure that they're making their environment nice for themselves and they're keeping everything up and paying their bills. And yeah, calling them support and them being like, yeah, but I do want to use this house though that I throw in your face all the time. Like, David, come off it now, pal. I knew Mike before I knew David. We are all still good friends. Plus, there were going to be other girls there, so it was not like he wanted a guys' night. Even then, I didn't think I needed to leave. He could do it at his own apartment. I then told him that I wanted everyone to leave by 10 p.m. The gathering started at 5 p.m, so I thought that was plenty of time. David got so upset he left the room, but he eventually told me that he would respect my rules, even though I was acting like his mum. Have the party at your place then, David. What is the problem? He told me he resents that I have to remind him to be an adult. See, I wonder as well if the OP would have let David, like, I wonder as well if the OP would have been like, yeah, there's no time limit on when people need to be left by, if it wasn't for the fact that David was being so, like, pushy about all this and being like, I want you to leave the house and what have you. Like, I imagine that makes the OP feel really, really uncomfortable about the whole situation as a whole. So yeah, it's like he's cut his nose off to spite his face a bit there, because if it just said, hey, can we throw this party with the friends at your house? I bet OP would have just been like, yeah, sure, that's fine. We'll have the party. Sounds like they were quite up for it until David started acting up. Friday comes and it's a fun time. We shoot the shit. There are 8 people total. Everyone, minus Mike and his wife, leave at 9:30 to 10 p.m. Everyone pitches in to clean up. Mike thanks me for the party and his wife is asking if I want to hang out another day. David's phone rings and he answers it. He starts talking like, sure man, and come on in. I hear what sounds like a horn honking and then a car pulling up. I have a gravel drive so you can hear the rocks crunching and the lights flash into the living room. I asked David if he's going somewhere, and he sort of looks guilty. He tells me he invited some guys over and that they were just gonna chill for like an hour or two. I told him that I didn't want more people in the house, that he needed to ask me to invite people over. He snapped, "I pretty much live here. I have a right to invite people over." No, David, until you pay bills, until you live there, actually actively live there, you don't, because it's not your house. As much as you might not agree with it, that is just the way it is. If someone says, "No, this is my house and you're not having people over here," you're not having people there, mate. Pretty much live here is 2 days a month when he can spend the night. Wow. David sounds quite immature, actually, doesn't it? It sounds like he's not in the same life stage as the OP. They don't sound very compatible, if you ask me. The other times I visit him between work and classes, or we go on late dates, but I usually spend the night at his apartment. It is closer to work. Someone knocked and I told David not to answer the door. I told David he needed to get his friends out of here and leave. I was done playing host. David ended up calling me a selfish bitch and got his things, leaving. I got a call at 3 a.m. from David asking me to pick him up at his friend's because he was too drunk to drive home. I told him to sleep it off. Fair one, fair one. So, David came by Saturday around noon and proceeded to tell me I ruined his night and he didn't know how he could forgive me for this. It was Mike's night. It was Mike's birthday party. He said I was a terrible person for embarrassing everyone like that, and Mike had called to say he was upset. Tenor says that Mike did not. How could I do that to him? How could I be so selfish? Then he told me, "We will live here one day, so you should get used to having my friends over." I told my friend and she said I probably ruined a good time and said I had overreacted. But I don't think I did. I didn't want them there. I had shit to do in the morning and I didn't want people crashing on my couch using my house as their whiskey hotel. I think that's absolutely fair, because it's not like David doesn't have his own apartment. If he wants to party and get drunk and have people in the house, I'm telling you now, no one comes in my house to get pissed. Barely people come in my house anyway, because I don't like letting people in. But, I have certain friends that I'm comfortable letting in, but if anyone was to ever be like, "Hey, can I bring this friend and we're going to get drunk and we'll do..." no. No, you're not. Just simple. No. I am tempted to break up with him over this. Is it a stupid reason? Did I act like a bitch? I am pretty bad at socializing and I'm pretty shy, so I could have been wrong, but I don't feel like I was. TLDR, my boyfriend says I ruined his friend's party. Was I wrong? First of all, I don't really think it was his friend's party at all. I think that party was for David, not his friend. Because Mike and his wife seemed pretty happy to, be left by 10 p.m, go home after a good night, and let that be that. I think at the end of the day, whether or not anyone thinks that OP should have, just let them come over, which I think if you don't want a load of blokes getting pissed in your house till 3 a.m, fair enough. I wouldn't want that either. I just don't think they're very compatible. I think David resents the OP, which is problematic already in a relationship, because how's that ever going to work when you've got one just resenting the other for, their lifestyle or what they've had or what they haven't had. And I'm not saying that, that's wrong for David to feel, because again, I think we've all felt like that at some points. The fact that he's voicing it though and beating her over the head with it constantly, that's what makes it wrong. I don't like that. But they just don't seem like the same compatible people. Do you know what I mean? He's a party lad. He wants to do this, that, and the third. And OP just wants to have a chill life, go to work, pretty up their house, which it's fair enough. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that David wants to be a party lad either. If he wants that, he will have to realise he can't have a girlfriend who doesn't want that. And vice versa. If OP wants a quiet life, OP needs to realise David's probably not the one for them. I think David is a massive arsehole though for how entitled he's acting and the way he talks to the OP just about them in general, just constantly talking down to the OP is not okay. So, relevant comments. OOP explains the 10 p.m. cutoff and her dislike of alcohol. I said to another person, I worked 54 hours this week. I'm in bed at 9 p.m. most nights and up at 6. I understand she's so young and she should let people crash on her couch, but I'm introverted. Yeah, that's okay if you are the sort of person that's into that kind of thing. If you're not, then that's okay too. I don't like drinking. My dad did it a lot and it makes me nervous. Understand that. Yeah, heavy understand that. I get nervous around like drunk people. There are certain people I don't mind drinking around, but some others, they just, no, they make me nervous, definitely. And the point of the party ending that early is so people wouldn't get drunk and crash on my couch. I have never been one for big parties, and Mike is the sort of guy who feels the same. No one was drunk, everyone was a little older in the group, most people are 30, and everyone works. So it's not like they all wanted a smashing party. Yeah, I really think like David's lying when he said that Mike said that he was uncomfortable and all that lot. I don't think so. Maybe Mike said he was uncomfortable because of the way David was acting, but I don't think Mike cared about OP wanting to end at 10. I don't think so at all. So we then have an update 12 days later. I was asked to give an update, so here it is. I called Mike and asked him if he spoke with David. He said he did, but that it was for maybe 5 minutes. They made plans to go golfing, but
Mike
turned him down because he felt uncomfortable with how David was acting. See? It was just so obvious. It was not even about the party. He told me the last time he went out with David, they went to a bar with some of David's work friends, which included a few of the younger girls at his work. I have no problem with this, and David did not cheat. The girls, however, were pretty wild and got smashed. David did not want to leave the bar, so he called some friends to pick him up. Then he took Mike over to his friend's house. These were some of the same guys he tried to get over at my house. Mike ended up leaving because they were making crude jokes about Mike's wife and were smoking pot. He said the way David treated him made him feel uncomfortable, and the party had been the last straw. Because David spent the time he wasn't with me complaining about how immature and stupid I was. Pot and kettle, David, come on now. Mike said we were cool and he would love to hang out with me another time, but he needed to stay away from David. It seemed pretty much to be, if David is still your boyfriend, peace out. I mean, I can't blame him, honestly. I ended up inviting 2 friends over for lunch on Sunday last, and we talked about David for almost 3 hours. I told them everything about the party and the way he had been treating me. I repeated some of the things he said, and it all just kind of clicked. I didn't want to be with someone who was a total child. I felt oddly liberated thinking that, and my stress just slipped off. You know, if you're sat there and you have that kind of epiphany of, I don't think I want to be with someone who acts like that and treats me that way, and you feel relief from that realization, you know it's only a matter of time before that relationship is dead in the water and gone, floating down the river. I knew in that moment that I wanted nothing to do with him again. I was done, and it was time to end it. I guess deep down, part of me had already been letting go after the party. David ended up texting me while my friends were over, asking if he could borrow my gas card. I have never let him take cards from me to use because I feel like that is asking for trouble. Yes, you've got to be very careful with who you give your cards to. Even with people I have known a long time. I told him he should come by and we could talk about it. My friends insisted on staying to offer moral support, but would be in the next room. It was actually easier than I thought it would be. He came in, asked for the card, I told him that it was over, he was not getting the card, and I never wanted to see him again. I told him to keep the $200 he owed me, I didn't need it. Oh my goodness, so not only has he been slagging off the OP, did I miss where she lent him $200? Not only has he been slagging off the OP, oh, you have it so easy, or, you know, you don't work, or whatever, you don't do anything, or whatever it is he said, I forget now, and then has the audacity to lend $200 off of the OP. Like, what? He told me he wanted his movies back. I gave them to him and he left. 2 days later, he texted me and called me about 30 times asking for me back. He needed me. He loved me. He wanted to be with me. I found out that he was late on rent, spent most of his money partying, and that he had hoped to borrow it from me. I owed him. What a little leech, the cheeky sod. I blocked his number. He showed up at my house twice, but telling him through the door I would call the police made him leave. I have yet to see him again. I'm not sure what is going on in his life, but f him. So, that is the update. I'm now single, focusing on work. 1, I have plans to take a trip. Someone is watching my house for me and knows not to let him in. My friend Amelia and I are going to the mountains. 2, I got a facial and a massage. The tension was pretty thick and Marcus cut right through it with his magic hands. Oh, did he now, OP? 3, and I am now a redhead. You know, like anyone who is even remotely female adjacent will know that feeling of just dyeing your hair after a breakup. And it's always like you go for something completely different from what you have already. I have also had the locks change and arranged to see a therapist. I've taken extra shifts at work and gone out with friends. I have a gathering in a few days with some other friends, Mike included. Ah, I'm glad. It feels nice, but I'm sure at some point when the victory is worn off, I will likely have a good cry about it. But yeah, that is pretty much it. TLDR, I am free. I am so flipping glad. And you know what? I'm actually not sure OP will have a cry about it. I think because David was just like essentially bullying the OP about, you know, what they have or what they don't have and how little they apparently work whilst working for nearly 50 hours a week, like cheek of it. I think the OP is just gonna be on the up and up, honestly, and I'm really glad for them. I'm really glad. So, final update 2 months later after the previous update. It's been a while and I'm not sure if anyone remembers me, but I wanted to update. David, my ex, got arrested for drug possession and is facing a felony charge. He threw a brick through my window? What the hell? I had a 2-week period where he was aggressively stalking me and would follow me to work. David, what is wrong with you? Either way, he has been in jail for a long time. I started dating someone else pretty quickly after and things have been going well. My new partner is also like me and likes to go to bed early and wake up early. We spend a lot of time together on the weekends and the time we are apart, he always sends me cute texts and makes sure to remember small things. I'm really glad you found someone good, OP. Would I ever suggest someone to go pretty quickly into a new relationship after a bad one? No, I really wouldn't. My recommendation to anyone breaking up and leaving a bad relationship is stay single for as long as you can. Figure yourself out, reconnect with yourself and whatever, because you're less likely to then take bull crap from somebody else. It's very easy to fall out of one bad relationship into another. Not saying that's what happens all the time, but if I was ever to give a recommendation to anyone, I would say leave it as long as you possibly can. You know, go out, have fun, talk to people, flirt with people, but just be cautious getting into another relationship too soon is all I'm saying. But I'm glad it worked out for the OP. I really am. I like him a lot better than David. I guess I just wanted to give an update. Thank you all so much for the support. TLDR, met someone new, David got arrested, life goes on. Like, honestly, that is not what I was expecting. That was definitely not the update I was expecting at the end there. Am I surprised though? No, not at all, not at all. And the thing is, if David wasn't such a prick about it all, I would have been there thinking, yeah, I understand if David feels a little bit, you know, threatened or jealous by what the OP has and what he doesn't have. Say if he's come from a worse background, I think it's normal to feel like that. It's not okay, though, to take it out on people. And I would have thought, you know, it's okay for David to want to go and party. He's like 24, 23, 24. I would have said that's okay if he wants to go and party, but he also has to then think to himself, well, should I really be in a relationship with someone who isn't like that? But no, turns out he's just a giant thundercat. So, well, that turned a bit south, didn't it? I am really glad that things are going well for the OP now, and I hope David does sort himself out one day, because he's just going down a very steep and dark path, isn't he? And he's going to end up spending even more time in prison if he doesn't sort himself out, so goodness me. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Hung White Boy 25, that never gets old, that username. It's actually insane how many red flags David was waving in the first post, and he just got worse and worse. Hope OOP is doing good now and that David is in jail. Yeah. Or at least David has like turned his life around and like had some heavy therapy. One or the other. And then Di Trastavia says, he just openly hated her. That's what I thought. It genuinely just didn't sound like he liked OP at all. But then again, when we found out that he wanted to get back with the OP because he needed to pay his rent, and that he had already lent $200 off the OP, wanted to use their house as a party house rather than his apartment, it's quite clear that David kept the OP around for what he could get from her, isn't it? He wanted her resources, but he didn't want her. Bingo! He just tolerated her as a necessary inconvenience in order to retain access to her stuff. Bleak shit. Yeah, and the fact that he stalked her to and from work and threw a brick through a window, it gives me a vibe of David didn't want her as a person. He wanted her as a belonging, but he didn't want the actual sort of like the rest of the stuff that comes with a relationship, I suppose. Very odd though. I've never understood that when blokes treat women like shit, or vice versa. It has happened the other way. In a relationship, act like they absolutely despise them, but then when they break up with them, it's like they stalk them. They want them back. They do everything. They harass them to the nines. And I'm like, what is wrong with your brain? Like, why? Oh my goodness. But yeah, I hope the OP is keeping safe and David has stayed away. When I read these ones that are like 2014, 2015, I often think, God, I'd love an update now. Just like a where are they now kind of thing. But yeah, I highly doubt we will get one of those. Now and then you do get them, but not very often, which is sad times. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, and hype button, yes, hype button, tell Big Al he sucks big ones. That's your initiation into the Covenant Void. My stressful day, yeah, so let me tell you about my ridiculously stressful day. So, for someone who has like a few chronic illnesses, I also have terrible medical anxiety, so I don't do well with any sort of like appointment letters or anything like that. It's the not knowing. When I get to the appointments, I'm fine. It's the lead up and the not knowing. Anyway, I woke up this morning, hadn't even had a coffee yet. It was proper early, and I get a phone call from the hospital, one of the hospitals, basically saying your neurosurgeon's going to call you at 2:00 today. It's like, oh, great, thanks for the heads up. So he calls me, he tells me he's decided he's not referring me to neurology yet. He wants to do more tests to make sure that surgery isn't the best option, although obviously that's the option we're trying to avoid because a brain surgery is obviously not ideal, especially when you're a single parent. So that was that. And, you know, you've got to think, I'm trying to think of myself like it's a positive thing. You know, they're being thorough, but also I don't like it. I then had a message from my GP because my therapist has decided that I need to have an assessment for autism and ADHD because I have very treatment resistant anxiety and what have you, and all different things, which I won't go into. Like, so she kind of thinks that there's one or the other or both going on because, you know, it is something that a few members of my very close family have. So yeah, we're now looking into that. And I had a flipping message off the GP this morning being like, hey, here's some questionnaires, please fill them in and send them back. Basically in the UK, you can go through, like, just get them to do the referral, or you can do this thing called right to choose, where you get to choose the clinic you go to, which can mean that you can avoid waiting for ages, basically. But she said, obviously, I need to do those flipping letters and send it back, whatever. So I did that. That was stressing me out because, obviously, again, having to think of the fact that there's going to be more appointments coming up, very stressful. Then the postie arrives, 2 letters from the hospital for 2 different appointments, one for a heart scan, one for a 24-hour ECG. And then with the 24-hour ECG, I have to go back the next day as well to hand in the bloody thing. So basically, in one day, I had letters or whatever, or correspondences for 5 different medical appointments, hospital appointments, whatever. So I've decided, I text my therapist and I said, just to let you know, I'm going to be taping my letterbox shut. Said I've had enough. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think of it as a positive thing because I've been waiting for a lot of these appointments for a long time. So I'm just trying to think of it in the way of, look, you're finally getting it out the way. It's all sort of, the cogs are turning now. Things will finally be getting out the way. You'll get answers to things or whatever, or solutions to things. But yeah, I still don't like it. I'm still taping my letterbox shut. Anyway, whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Again, don't forget to leave a snooty comment for Big Al. Bye!